Alright, welcome to session 3. So today we'll be trying to go into the Hobgoblin Cave. We recently determined that the Hobgoblins were working with the bandits. In the wandering encounters here, I put a 3 in 6 chance that there will be Hobgoblins, and a 2 in 6 chance there will be bandits, and there might be something special, in which case I'll roll up from the tables in the book. I'm going to say that the town of Fisk is going to give a 1,500 gold reward for clearing the cave. It has to be somewhat complete. The leader has to be killed or something akin to that. So I was wondering about how I was going to generate out the dungeon this time, and I want to use this series as a way to actually experiment with stuff as well. So I decided that I'm going to use the AD&D DMG first edition Appendix A and then modify it. What I like to do is I like to use Ironsworn Delve. So I modified it so that the monsters, tricks, and traps were instead dangers on the cards. So if you're not familiar with Ironsworn Delve, they come in these cards. There's a whole system for Ironsworn, but I think the main draw are these cards. You can kind of move it around like this, so you can get a D100 features and a D45 dangers. The reason for this is that it's a D100 roll, but with the system, normally if you get more than a 45, you will refer to the Ironsworn Delve tables. So for our purposes, I'm making it so that every time I go into a room, I'm gonna roll a d20. On a 1 to 6, it's gonna be empty. On a 7 to 11, there's going to be a danger, in which case I'll use this. A 12 to 17, there will be a danger and treasure. And on an 18 to 20, that will just be treasure. If the danger turns out to be an enemy, then I'm gonna use their treasure hoard if they do have treasure with them. And on more than a 45 for us, it's going to just be one of the wandering encounters, so it's going to be just an enemy. Every room, including the empty rooms, I will roll a feature from the Ironsworn Delve cards here. There are a lot more cards from Ironsworn Delve, but for our purposes, I chose Infested and Cavern because I thought that would make sense. Foul creatures dwell here, a place of stone and darkness. So I think that fits with what we have so far. One thing I'm still getting used to is the treasure system. So White Box has rules on treasure, and it splits it into copper pieces, silver pieces, and gold pieces. For our purposes, I think that's a little bit too complex and too much maths to keep up with on the fly. So what I did is I went ahead and printed out 100 hordes from Donjon, which is a great online generator. And yeah, I just rolled up for level 1 treasures. So I have 100 of them in this little booklet that I made, and I'll leave a PDF to this in the description below as well. So every time I need to just generate out a regular treasure, I will just use this. One more thing that we have to cover before we get into it. My house rules for this. I am tracking encumbrance, so a scroll is equals to a gem, which is equal to 1 coin. Jewels are 10 coins, potions are 10 coins, rods are 20 coins, staves are 40 coins, and wands are 10 coins. So I'm just using coins as a unit of measurement for how much the players can carry. I'm not going to worry about their equipment and all that. I'm just going to focus on how much treasure they're carrying. So if they're carrying less than 750 coins, they can move normally. More than that, and they'll move at half movement, which will mean that there will be more chance of random encounters happening. And more than 1,500 coins, and they cannot move at all. So we'll see how that goes. I might just change the system depending on how this adventure goes. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, and I also have this tracker for wandering encounters. I'm gonna make it every 2 turns. I have to check for a wandering encounter. And that's gonna be a 1 in 6 chance of something else coming in. So that's it, let's jump right in. So to determine what the rooms look like, I'm actually going to be using 4 Against Darkness's geomorphs here. I will be disregarding the doors, I think, because it's going to be a natural cavern. So I'm just going to roll and see what we get on our first room. And that's going to be a 6. So it's going to look something like that. I'm going to say that that's the entrance and it leads to a T intersection there. Okay. Let's roll for the room contents. And we get a 17, which is a danger and a treasure. So we're going to go to our cards here. Firstly, we're going to roll up a feature because every single room we'll roll up a feature. So let's see what we get. We're gonna get 69, which is gonna be a cave pool. How about for our danger? So again, on more than a 45, we have to face a wandering encounter. We get a 46. Okay, so there's a danger and treasure, and it's being held by some monster, so we're gonna roll for that. It's going to be a hobgoblin. How many of them are there gonna be? I'm gonna say it's 1 to 2, so 1 to 3 is gonna be 1, 4 to 6 is gonna be 2. So it's gonna be 2 hobgoblins perhaps guarding the entrance here, and there's gonna be a pool right there. Alright, so I'm gonna roll for their reaction towards us because they might think that we're bandits that they are allied with. That is going to be a 9. Okay, so a 9 is positive. So they do indeed think that we are some of the bandits coming back. So as Leopold and Orchid come in, the hobgoblins greet us with some kind of grunt of approval. Let's look at the description for hobgoblins again. They're simply larger goblins. So how friendly a relation do they have with the bandits? I'm gonna say that even though we agreed that they are working together, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are friendly with each other. I'm gonna ask that as an oracle question. Are they friendly towards each other? 3. That's a no. So they're just barely tolerating each other for some reason. Now, do we speak the goblins' language? I believe that the dwarf does. So it says here that languages. Dwarves should be able to speak with gnomes, goblins, orcs, and kobolds. So Leopold, our dwarf, is going to come up and ask them some questions that might give us some information about what is going on here. So the problem is that he's not particularly charismatic, but given the situation, I think there's a 50-50 chance that he's going to get any information of value. They're the hobgoblins' allies, supposedly, but the hobgoblins and the bandits don't really like each other, so yeah, let's just say 50-50. Does he get any information out of these hobgoblin guards? There's gonna be a 15. That is gonna be a yes. Okay, so why are the hobgoblins and the bandits banding up together? I'm gonna go to Game Unfolding Machine for this, and I'm gonna go to Action or Intent Evil. And I'll reroll if it doesn't make sense. We're gonna get a 5. Raid and burn a village or location. I think they're planning on raiding and burning down Fisk, as we previously established. But they're planning more than that, I think. They're planning to raid all the nearby villages, starting with Fisk, and trying to get the advantage through that. So this is quite bad. Okay, we've used up a turn here, so I'm gonna cross that off. We're gonna walk on through, but before we do, I think we're gonna ask them where their leader resides. Given how things are going so far, I think it's a likely chance that they will help us out with that. So I'm going to roll for that at an advantage. There's going to be an 18, a yes and. Okay, they're going to tell us exactly where the leader is. I'm going to say that the leader is going to be D6 plus 2 rooms away from us. And we're just going to roll on that. 5 rooms away. Okay, we're going to keep going, pretending to be the bandits. These hobgoblins are not very bright. Luckily for us, we're able to keep going without any conflict of any sort yet. I'm gonna note down here that there are gonna be 5 turns before we reach the Hobgoblin Chief's room, so not including this room. So we're gonna go into the next room and we're gonna see what happens there. You know what? Instead of rolling for the 4AD room immediately, I'm actually going to roll for the contents of the room first, because the features might actually give some information about how the room is. So we'll roll for that. We get an 18. This room has some treasure in it. Okay, let's get a feature of this room. And 33, that's going to be twisting passages. Okay, then I'm gonna roll on the 4AD dungeon rooms there, and we're gonna get 12. So I'm gonna say that it's just a long hallway, kinda like that. And stashed off in the corner here is some treasure. Is it in a container? I think that's gonna be likely. So... ooh, we got double ones. No end. Double ones. So I think that means that it's just out in the open for the taking. That's really lucky of us. It's not in a container, it's not guarded. It's just there. Okay, so let's roll up what treasure we find, but before that, we're using up a turn here. So we're gonna have to roll for wandering monsters. But actually, given the fact that we rolled a double 1, I'm gonna say that we're gonna roll this with advantage. So it's gonna be, we take the higher number. Okay, so no, we do not encounter any kind of monster. We just find some kind of treasure just lying there. We're gonna roll for what kind of treasure it is. We're gonna get 29. Hopefully it's something good. 29 is 600 silver pieces. Total value of 60 GP. I'm gonna say that one of us is gonna pocket that. So the problem is that 600 silver pieces does mean that it's gonna take up a lot of weight. But I think Leopold is gonna take that. So it's gonna go down to 150 in terms of their weight. And they're gonna have 600 silver pieces just lying about on the ground. So far our party has been quite fortunate. Okay, let's keep going. So far luck has been on our side, so we got a 1, which is empty. Not necessarily bad, especially since we're just here to find their boss, right? We're gonna go with features, and yeah, let's roll up a feature for this empty room. 86. It's a dark pit. Oh, okay. We're gonna actually roll on the 4AD chart here as well, and we're gonna get a 35, which is supposedly a dead end. We know that this is the way to the Hobgoblin Chief, so I'm gonna say that there's an exit out there, but there is some kind of supernaturally dark cavern around here. Maybe it's something where there's a lot of objects around, a lot of jagged edges on the walls, and it's casting a lot of shadows, so it's hard to tell what's in there. So the question is whether our party is gonna keep moving forwards. They know the location of the Hobgoblin Chief, so I say they're gonna keep going. But if they didn't have that information, they might just have turned around now. So I'm actually gonna say that it takes the party 2 turns to move through because it's so hard to make it through this particular cavern. So they're gonna have to roll for a wandering encounter here. And if they roll for something here, it could be bad. It's gonna be a 3. They are lucky so far. They encounter nothing, but I'm gonna make some drawings of rubble and objects sitting around here. Some rocks maybe. Just casting a lot of shadows. It's very hard to navigate. Okay, so far so lucky. There's gonna be a second room down. Third room. We're gonna roll for room contents. We're gonna get a 17, a danger, and a treasure. Okay. Again, a feature, so let's see here. D100. There's gonna be a 65. A subterranean waterway. Subterranean waterway. And it's gonna look like that. Okay, with 2 exits out. I'm gonna say that there's a bridge of sorts across here. And there's some water down below. But the water obviously leads to some other area. Like that. Now, which way is it to the Hobgoblin Chief? I'm gonna say it's more interesting if this is the way to the Hobgoblin Chief, but this could be something else. A kind of side room, per se. But before they deal with that, they have to deal with whatever danger is in this particular room. So, let's see, what is the danger? Alright, 20. A denizen blocks the path. Okay, what denizen is it? A 4, it's a bandit. They said 1 denizen, so there seems to be 1 bandit just hanging out on the bridge here. And I think that these bandits are going to be smarter than the hobgoblins. So for the reaction roll, I'm going to take the regular reaction roll, and I'm going to minus 1 from it. That is going to be a 7. So they're not sure whether we are their ally or not. So we could either try to convince them, or alternatively, we could try to just attack and take them off guard. I think we're gonna attack. So as soon as we step on the bridge here, the bandit sees us, and we see him. And for the moment, there's a bit of confusion because he doesn't recognize us. But Leopold is just gonna go in and try to chop his head off. So let's see how much HP this bandit has. So it's gonna be hit dice of 1, and they're gonna min out. This is a new rule for me. They're gonna min out at half their maximum HP. So in this case, if they get less than a 3, they're just gonna have 3 HP. They are gonna have 5 HP. They're a stronger bandit. They have an AC of 12. Just a note there in case I forget. Okay, let's see how Leopold does. A 14. 14 is gonna be a hit. So we're gonna roll a d6 and add 1 for their battle axe here. You're gonna get a 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. That kills the bandit outright. Leopold jumps in and takes the element of surprise and chops down the bandit. This happens in a blink of an eye, and Leopold and Arcade, who are at the front, are going to try to search the bandit. This doesn't trigger enough noise for a wandering encounter roll, but they are going to search for the treasure of the bandit, because I did roll that the bandit does have some kind of treasure with them. So bandits have a HDE of 1, so we're gonna roll for 1 treasure heart, and it's gonna be a 1d6 roll. It's gonna be a 6. This bandit has something on them. So 15 XP times 4. That is 60 gold pieces. Okay. 75% of it is in gold pieces, which is great. Which means we get 45 gold and 150 silver, if my math is correct. I'm gonna give that to Arcade here. 45 gold pieces and 150 silver pieces. There's gonna be a total weightage of 195, 550 for their remaining weight that they can carry before they become encumbered. Not a bad haul. This bandit had some good stuff. Should we actually go down to the waterway below? I'm assuming there's gonna be some kind of way to get down there. Is there? I think it's likely. So the answer is a 16, which is a yes. I'm gonna say that there is a set of stairs leading down from the bridge, like so. Okay, so they could take this detour. I'm gonna say that if they take the detour, there's gonna be more chance of treasure. So I'm gonna roll that at an advantage. However, they still have to come back and go to the Hobgoblin Chief. So do they want to make this detour? So far their luck has been holding out, so I think they are gonna do it. So we're gonna roll 2d20 and we're gonna pick the higher one. Oh no, they got a 9, which just means danger. Our luck might have run out. What is the feature of this area? 48. Okay, so it's a cramped cave. I'm gonna say that this place doesn't have any exits. I'm not gonna roll on the 4AD chart there, but there is some kind of danger involved here. So what kind of danger did they find? That is going to be 29, which is a victim's horrible fate is revealed. So the danger doesn't necessarily have to be a monster or a trap, but it could be something unfortunate happening. In this case, we find out what happened to the rest of the scouting party who came here. The question is, were they taken as prisoners or were they killed? I'm gonna ask that as a oracle question. Are any of them alive? 14, that's a yes. Are all of them alive? 14 again, that's a yes. So they're being held prisoner. Let's see how many there are. 6 of them. There's 6 prisoners here, and they're tied up, and they can't move. They look like they've been starved for a while, and as soon as they see us, a glimmer of hope shows in their eyes. But we can't get them out right now. We have to deal with something else first. And given their state, they can't help us, given how malnourished and how weak they are. So I think, given our characters' personalities, Webster, who is somewhat rude, is going to take the pragmatic approach here. They are going to want to get rid of the Hobgoblin Chief first. However, Stilton, who is righteous, and Arcade, who is merciful, are not so sure. Leopold does not care. He's generous, but he's prejudiced against humans. So, what do? I think in this case, it's going to come down to a vote here. I think it's likely that they're going to go after the Hobgoblin Chief first, as cruel as that may seem. So let's see if that's the case. No, they don't. They do the potentially foolish thing of cutting the ropes and freeing these prisoners. I think they're going to try to maintain the security of these prisoners first. But before I forget, we do have a Wandering Monster check. 3. Nothing. I'm gonna do one more Wandering Monster check because they are taking some time in freeing these prisoners. Nothing again. We're being very lucky. They're gonna have to lead them out through to here, and it's going to incur some Wandering Monster rolls. Because they are moving at half their speed, I'm gonna say that for every room that they backtrack through, it will normally be twice the speed, so it'll just be a normal rate of movement. So first, our party is going to go towards this direction here. They're going to climb up the stairs and lead the prisoners down. They're going to incur a Wandering Monster roll. 3. Nothing yet. Again, they're going to go down to this area here. And again, they're going to have to lead them through to this area that's very dark and very hard to see. They're going to incur yet another wandering monster check. Nothing. They come down through this cavern where they found the treasure. And finally, they have to make it past the 2 hobgoblins. They're gonna ask the prisoners to wait in this cavern here while they ambush the hobgoblins. But they're gonna incur one more wandering monster check as they come in. Nothing. Very, very lucky. These 2 hobgoblins, what are their stats? Let's see. Armor class of 14, hit dice of 1+1. They're gonna min out at 4. So we're gonna roll for their HP. Each of them is gonna have 4 HP. Alright. The party comes back to these 2 hobgoblins, who presume that they just met their leader. And before the hobgoblins can say anything, even a greeting, Leopold is gonna come in again with his battle axe and chop at one of the hobgoblins. 16. That's gonna be a hit. 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. That is gonna take out one of the hobgoblins here. Orchid is gonna come swinging as well. Orchid is not going to be able to hit. Stilton is going to come in and hit. Stilton is not going to be able to hit. Webster. None of them hit except for Leopold. One of the hobgoblins is down. We're going to have to roll for their morale. A 6. A 6 is they're going to hold. There's a high chance that they're going to scream for the other hobgoblins. Let's see if they do that. No, they do not. They're going to foolishly try to attack. Maybe they are panicking, maybe they don't know any better. However, they are going to try to attack Leopold, who just attacked their friend. So, let's see if they hit. The hobgoblin is not going to be able to hit Leopold. One thing I didn't do on the previous session is figure out initiative each round. I'm going to fix that this time. So we're going to be on reds, the enemy is going to be on blue. 3 and a 6. The hobgoblin, panicking, is going to get their turn in, and we're going to check whether they are going to scream out again. Likely. This time it's a 20, a yes and. They're going to scream out very loudly. There's usually going to be a 1 in 6 chance of a random encounter. I'm going to put that up to a 3 in 6 chance because we got 20. We got 3. And what wandering encounter do we get? A 2. Another hobgoblin emerges. I'm going to say from here. The hobgoblin is going to have a HP of 4. I'm gonna rule that this new hobgoblin is going to only be able to do something after the next turn. But seeing this, it might be the case that they are going to actually raise the alarm. But first it's our turn. Leopold is going to swing at the new goblin who comes in. And this time, Leopold is not going to be able to hit. 12 plus a 1 is a 13. That does not reach 14. Orchid is going to try to hit as well. Orchid is going to get a 13, which is not going to be able to hit. Orchid does not have a bonus to their attack. Stilton. Stilton is not going to be able to hit anybody, and Webster. Webster is going to swing at the hobgoblin who just came in and is going to be able to hit them with their small dagger. Unfortunately, Webster is going to roll a 1 and deal no damage because the dagger has a -1 to it. So even though Webster tries to attack the hobgoblin, its thick skin is enough to deter Webster. This is bad. Initiative. That is going to be 4 and a 5. The enemies go first again. There is a chance that they might raise the alarm. I'm gonna say it's a 50-50 chance. Do they raise the alarm? 7. No, they think they can take us on. Possibly give us as a gift to their hobgoblin chief. The hobgoblin is going to attack. Let's figure out who they're gonna attack. One of them is going to attack Orchid, and one of them is going to attack Stilton. The first hobgoblin attacks, and does not get enough to attack Orchid. The second hobgoblin attacks as well, and is going to get enough to attack Stilton, our thief. Oh boy. D6. The hobgoblin raises his axe and swings down, doing 2 damage to Stilton. The axe reaches his shoulder and draws blood. Our turn now. We have to finish off these hobgoblins. Leopold is going to swing at one of them, it doesn't matter which. And they are going to hit. Leopold is a beast. 19. That is going to be D6 plus 1. We get a 5. 5 plus 1 is a 6, and that is going to be enough to take out one of the hobgoblins. Orchid is similarly going to do the same thing, but to the remaining hobgoblin, and this time they are going to be able to hit for 2 damage. Stilton is going to try to swing with his longsword. A 15. Finally, they're getting some hits in, and he's going to deal 5 damage, taking out the final hobgoblin. However, this combat took some time. I'm going to rule that a turn passes. They're going to come back in here, they're going to get the prisoners out, and doing all of that, coming back in here, coming back out, and bringing them back out to safety is going to incur one more Wandering Monster roll. I hope that we don't roll a 1. We do not. We're able to free the 6 prisoners, and they know the path. They're going to be able to get back to town safely enough, hopefully. But our job here isn't done yet. We still have to find the Hobgoblin Chief. Knowing that some hobgoblins came from here, we're gonna take the time to move the hobgoblins over to this cavern just so that we can possibly make them a bit harder to find. That is gonna take up 2 turns. Another Wandering Monster check. 2. Nothing. Now that that's done, we're going to backtrack through to here, and that is going to take up 1 turn only. Since we do not have the 6 prisoners in tow, we're gonna double our movement rate as we backtrack through. So we're going to come back through here, and we're going to move on to the next room. And we get a 14, a danger and some treasure. What they did was almost foolish, but it worked out in the end. So let's see what the feature is here. It's going to be a 9. Ravaged terrain or architecture. Okay, what's the danger? 95. There's going to be a wandering encounter. 3 hobgoblins. And I almost forgot. We're gonna have to roll on the corridors and rooms here. We're gonna get a 1 and a 1. Ruin architecture. We're gonna come through this passageway that seems more constructed than the rest of the cavern, but it is ruined in certain areas here and there. The floor tiles seem to be crumbling, but there are tiles instead of just limestone. In it, we're gonna find some hobgoblins. As we're getting very, very close to the Hobgoblin Chief's lair, I'm going to say that these are guards. So I'm going to say that there are actually D4 plus 1 number of Hobgoblin guards here. There's going to be 3, and they're going to be guarding this door to the Hobgoblin Chief. Given that it's a long corridor, I don't think that either of us are going to be surprised. But does anybody else come in as well? Another Wandering Monster check? Nobody else. So we're going to see what reaction they have towards us. There's going to be a 5. A negative reaction. Our luck has run out. They recognize us to not be the bandits, and they come forward charging. Initiative time. They are gonna start first. This is bad. 3 hobgoblins, each at 14 AC. And we're gonna roll their HP. Mining out at 4. So all of them are gonna have 4 HP. Except for 1, which is gonna have 5 HP. Because they add a plus 1 to their HP. Okay, I'm gonna say that Webster is gonna hang out behind the back here, while Leopold, Orchid, and Stilton are at the front. So who are the hobgoblins gonna attack first? Let's see, that's going to be 1 to 2 is Leopold, 3 to 4 is Orchid, 5 to 6 is gonna be Stilton. Can't see those cards very well, so let's move them down. So it's gonna be Orchid. The first hobgoblin is gonna attack Orchid, and they are not gonna be able to hit. The second hobgoblin is gonna attack Orchid as well, and they are going to get a natural 20. That is horrendous. It means that they get their maximum damage and they get to roll, which means that our cleric takes 10 damage and dies immediately. The hobgoblin bashes in Orchid's skull, and blood flies everywhere as they fall to the ground. Webster is going to move to the front when they can, but for now, the final hobgoblin is going to decide between Leopold, a 1 to 3, or 4 to 6 is going to be Stilton. Stilton is going to take a hit. They die. Stilton, our thief, is immediately killed by the hobgoblin guard as well. Leopold and Webster are now our only 2 heroes remaining, and they are going to retreat. This is bad. Very, very bad. They're not going to be able to take any of the things left by Orchid and Stilton. There's no time. However, Webster is going to cast Light. I'm going to rule that these hobgoblins have a saving throw for magic that is the same as a fighter. In other words, they're gonna have a 14. If they roll a 14 or above, they're gonna be able to resist the light. Otherwise, one of them gets blinded. Which one gets blinded? The first one. Webster is going to cast light and try to use it as a distraction to get away. 18. The Hobgoblin is able to resist the magic, and Webster has used up their final spell for the day. Leopold is going to make a tactical retreat here, but that involves all of them potentially allowing the Hobgoblins to get an attack of opportunity on them. The first Hobgoblin swings and hits air as Leopold and Webster run away. The second Hobgoblin is also going to miss, and the final Hobgoblin is going to miss as well. Luckily, Leopold and Webster are able to run away down through the bridge, and that is going to take up a turn in order to get to this area here. The Hobgoblins are indeed going to pursue, I think. So the question is whether Leopold and Webster can evade them fast enough. I'm gonna say that since Leopold has leather armor and Webster has no armor, it's going to be likely. So I'm gonna say that there's a 4 in 6 chance of them being able to evade the Hobgoblins. 4, just barely. They're able to evade the Hobgoblins and they're able to go down here and here, risking one more wandering monster encounter. Almost a 1. They run out of there. They were not able to get to the Hobgoblin Chief. This was pretty much a failure. In addition, Orchid and Stilton are dead, so we're not able to get any of the treasure off Orchid, and all we have is the 600 silver pieces that Leopold has. They are not going to get a 1500 gold reward for clearing the dungeon. They are, however, going to get the XP all for themselves. So let's see how much XP that is. Hobgoblins have 15 XP, same as a bandit. So they killed 4 enemies in all, because one more Hobgoblin came in here, which is not a lot of XP, but they are actually going to get 60 XP, divided amongst the 2 of them. I'm also going to say that they left their gold back at the town, so they're going to be able to add that to the haul as well, which is not that much. They're gonna have to deliver the horrible news that the Hobgoblin army is about to invade.